our very own Joseph Duffy is fighting here against James Vick. In maybe apart from the Dustin Poirier fight, is the biggest fight and the toughest fight of his career against James Vick, someone who's very, very like him. 11-1 in his career now, only lost to Beneil Dariush, and people know how big I am, and Beneil Dariush, very, very good, has wins over Jake Matthews, Abel Trujillo, Marco Polo Reyes, Nick Hine, Ramsey Nimjim, some very, very good guys there. This is a tough one for Joseph Duffy, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a very competitive and very good fight. It's kind of flying under the radar, even in kind of the local scene, and nobody's really talking about it, just because of obviously the 3 title fights, the return of GSP and all that stuff, and obviously 99% of the promotion has been around Bisping. They haven't barely even mentioned Cody and TJ and Joanna, but yeah, this is like Joe Duffy. I think he's going to have too much. I love watching Joe Duffy fight because he's unorthodox and he just has a different striking style, and he puts the shoulder up, and he's really good on the ground as well. Vick is really tough though. Vick he lost to Beneil Dariush, as you said, but like Beneil Dariush on his day is absolutely brilliant. Mm-hmm. And then besides that, he has a loss on the Ultimate Fighter, which is an exhibition bout to Michael Chiesa, who is no mug either. So this guy doesn't lose to people who aren't top notch, or maybe even just below the kind of the title picture. But I just think Duffy is. I think he's really coming into his own. I think maybe people kind of forget that he was away for 3 odd years, or three and a bit years doing boxing and not doing any kind of grappling, not doing any MMA, and it does take a while to kind of get back into the flow of things. And I think he was kind of doing that before the stalemate in the transfer, or in the contract negotiations came up, and that kind of, I don't know, that kind of made people forget about Duffy a bit. So I think he'll re-announce himself here. I think he's going to be very dangerous early on the feet, as he always is, Duffy. And I think I think Duffy will get the finish here, to be honest. But I like Vick is very tough and very hard to finish, but I think Duffy will get it done here.
Yeah, look, I think his time away from MMA is something that could actually win him this fight, obviously, because his time away from MMA was in boxing, and I think this is going to be largely a boxing match. And that schooling he's had against all different type of boxers, obviously 7-0 boxing, I think that'll stand him in good stead here, because Vick is someone who's a very, very boxing-orientated fighter. He's a little bit like Joseph Duffy, as I mentioned. He's a very boxing-orientated fighter as well. And when it goes to the ground, he goes for submissions hard. I think they have something like 12, 15 submissions or something between them in their career. So I don't think Vick is going to do what he does to most guys, whereas like maybe jab him apart in the feet, beat him up, and then take him down and submit him. I don't think he's going to do that to Joseph Duffy somehow. And I think I think Duffy will be well used to fighting someone who's very long like this. And most guys Vick fights aren't. We saw him against, all the guys I mentioned there, and that's kind of what he does. He stays long in his jab, lands those 2 or 3 shot combinations. As I said, goes in, gets the submission. Against Joseph Duffy, is he going to be able to do that? I think Joseph Duffy's very good at getting in, getting low on his shots, sitting down on his shots, coming in with body shots. His body shots are some of the best in MMA, probably the best in MMA. It's hard to think of anyone else who hits the body with fists anyway as good as Joseph Duffy. Against Vick, a tall, big man like that, that's going to be huge. And I do as well. I think Vick is tough. He has been KO'd by Dariush in his only loss. It could be late, I think 2nd, 3rd round maybe, but or a decision. But I do think Duffy will win. I wouldn't be surprised if Vick did win, because he's very, very good as well. But I think it'll be a tough, tight scrap. I think Duffy might have a little bit more power, might be a little bit more accurate, might be a little bit more tested in boxing against a guy with such good boxing. It's easy to look a good boxer when you're fighting guys who really aren't good boxers, but is it easy to look a good boxer against other good boxers? That's the thing, and I think Duffy can do that. I'm not sure if Vick can, so I'd lean Duffy because of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be all that surprised if Vick was able to, get some takedowns and stay on top. Like, if Duffy's shown any weakness in his UFC career, it was against Dustin Poirier in kind of accepting takedowns too easy to kind of go for triangles, to go for submissions. He needed to be a bit more urgent or a bit less accepting of the takedowns, I think. But I think he's learned from that. I think he's talked about he was over anxious to try and get the knockout and to kind of slug it out and prove that the concussion that he got pulled from the UFC Dublin main event over was gone, and that he was still able to take a punch, and it was a bit of pride maybe came into it. But it's definitely a competitive matchup. But I just think Joe will be able to figure him out. As you say, his experience on the feet, especially in the boxing realm, is really, really good. And Joe's a very good kicker as well. He has very sneaky head kicks, which he showed, I think, in his UFC debut, was it? Yeah. So the body work as well, as you say. I think Joe's just going to have too much on the feet for him, and I think Joe will be able to stay away from the takedowns long enough to put Vick away.